Session. All right, J, old business. Consideration of approval of city manager contract. Tom Curry.
Thank you, Mayor. This evening is long coming, and just to know that you all have put a lot of work into this agreement, both the city manager, city attorney, as well as council. There's been a lot of thought and consideration taken in here, so I'm just going to give you the salient features of what the agreement is, and then once it's signed, we can make copies available for the public and can be distributed. All right, Ms. Garrett, as city manager, will have what's an agreement which will terminate December 31, 2014, and it will renew from year to year unless it's terminated either by her or by the city. Her annual salary is $214,000. She will get all the same benefits that every other employee is entitled to. However, she will, in accordance with the policy, get 30 paid vacation days per year. She will have a $600 per month auto reimbursement allowance, and her retirement will be 8.8% of her compensation, plus an amount equal to the 10% of the employer match under the 401k plan that's available to the other employees. There's customary reimbursement for business expenses. In the event she terminates the agreement, or if she is terminated by this council for cause, then she would be entitled only to whatever accrued benefits have not been paid her under salary or whatever. However, if the council terminates the agreement for reasons other than cause, or it's deemed to be terminated for reasons other than cause, then she would be entitled to a severance payment of 9 months compensation, which would be payable in a periodic basis for 9 months. That's there. Other items would be that if she chooses to move to the city of Brookhaven, then the city would reimburse her for certain expenses associated with her move and purchase of a new residence if that is done, but that's totally at her option. I'm available for any questions that you may have.
Thank you for your work on this, Tom. I know it's been quite a while, and it's having just really come to agreement on this is long. Like you said, it's a long time coming. We appreciate the citizens' patience with this. Did you have anything else? Anything that you feel was out of the ordinary, or does this, as far as city manager contracts go and your knowledge of those, is this a fairly standard as far as
as far as the benefits and the salary level based upon the quality of the person and the credentials that she has, this is customary. Certainly, having spent most of my career consulting in the private sector, this is more than a good, I'd say a good deal for the city, based upon what my experience has been with persons in other industries who have functioned as CEOs, which is what she's doing.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the city manager contract as presented by the city manager, or by our city attorney.
I'll second that.
Any discussion?
I'd just like to point out that that Marie Garrett is, in my experience, the best city manager I've ever seen. And we've only been around for a year and a half, but I have gotten to see other city managers in operation. This city's in startup mode, and without a city manager with her talent and caliber, our city would not be as successful as it is today. So we.
Sir, could you please sit down?
He's just taking a picture.
So
I know, but not during a presentation.
We as a city should not be penny wise, pound foolish. And I think we've made a wise investment in our city manager. So thank you, Marie.
Thank you. I just want to add, too, that, when we first were sworn in, just literally, a week or two after we were elected, it was probably the fastest startup of any city in the state of Georgia. The first thing we had to do was find a city manager. And for all the work that the Governor's Commission had done, the one thing they didn't do was really do any work except put out some bids for a search company, for an executive search company. So we started on the executive search, and we quickly learned that it was going to take us a good 90 days or so. Well, we couldn't do anything without having a city manager. So we started vetting the resumes very quickly and went through quite a few of them and tried to speed up the process. And we, the council and the mayor, we interviewed, oh goodness, probably a dozen very fine people from around the country that had been identified both by the search company and by our own HR person who had come on board and was very knowledgeable. And we had already brought on Marie as an interim, and we just kept coming back to the fact that nobody even came close to her. And again, this experience of starting up a new city is completely different. All these other city managers were used to walking into a government that had already existed for some time, already had a bureaucracy, already had staffs of people, organizations that had been in place 100 years or so. And this was, creating things from the ground up. And so, Marie had not only the experience in doing this, but everything we saw from her day by day just showed us her breadth of knowledge, her knowledge of DeKalb County, her knowledge of Georgia, her 30 years of experience was just going to pay off tremendously for us. So, and I'll tell you one other thing. This is kind of a secret, but I'm going to tell you anyway. Along the way, when we were further down the road, wanting to hire her then full time, and Marie was resisting us. I have to tell you this. She wanted to continue her successful consulting practice, and she was writing a textbook on public administration. She was teaching. She had a lot of successful things going on, but we were, by that time, really begging her to come on board and be part of the Brookhaven team. Unfortunately, one of our neighboring cities was interested in getting rid of their city manager, and they too knew Marie's talents because she had been an interim for them. Can I tell them who it was?
I don't know.
Anyway, I will tell you, we got into, the mayor came to us and said, I'm coming after Marie Garrett. So we did, in fact, get into a bit of a bidding war on her. And if you looked at any of the articles of comparison of other salaries, they had, at that time, the highest paid city manager, who was at that time making $207 and was in line for about a 4% raise. And at this point, I don't really make any apologies for trying to hire the best and trying to, keep the best person that we thought that was out there, and compared to, the many other candidates that we had seen. I've seen some of these articles that say, well, the city manager of Smyrna makes a whole lot less. Well, do you want the city manager of Smyrna running Brookhaven? I mean, it's a completely different, entity. It really doesn't. It just doesn't relate to just population figures per se. In any case, I am so pleased and so proud that we were able to keep Marie Garrett and get her to sign this contract. And she's already done great things for us and continues to bring forth ideas and innovations. And her breadth of knowledge is beyond any of us who are all, as you know, newbies in this job. I apologize that we've kind of bungled this process a bit. We should have handled it much sooner. I could tell you a half dozen reasons why it kept getting lost in the shuffle, but I won't bore you. In any case, my promise, though, is that we'll do better next year, and we'll get on top of this and bring forth it to you in a more timely fashion. And I apologize to Marie that we've delayed this long on your contract. This contract actually started in February, so she's been working in good faith, God bless her. So anyway, welcome aboard, and I promise that we will get better at this.
Yes, we will. And there were a bevy of things that caused delays in this, one of them being our, switching city attorneys back when I was getting heat from some other mayors about hiring our city manager away. And that's was scary when you're less than a year old, when you're 9 months old, and you have a mayor from a larger city with a larger budget come to you and say, I'm going to take your city manager, and that's what he said. It kind of makes you a little bit anxious. And I came to the council and said, listen, this is what we're facing, and I think this is what it's going to take to keep Marie Garrett here. We talked about it at length, discussed it, and we realized that like Bates said, being penny wise and pound foolish on something like your city manager is not, I don't think what the citizens of Brookhaven expect. And we have observed other city managers in the area. Bates has had some experiences recently where he's seen other ones in action and came back to us and told us unequivocally that we have a gem here, because Marie, if you notice, when we're at these work sessions or in council meetings, it's rare that she ever tells us when we ask her to do something, no. I don't think I've ever heard her say, no, we can't do that. If it's something that's out of line or crazy, the city attorney will typically speak up. But,
Or illegal.
but it's to have someone who will say, I'll work on that, I'll get on that. Yes, we can find a way to make that happen when it's for the benefit of our citizens is a huge value. And we are very excited that she's here to stay. And I was very keen on making sure she stayed, and she wasn't going to be our full-time city manager when she started. It was completely consulting to begin with, and we had to talk her into incrementally, come on, be a salaried employee. And we were able to do that, and we're thankful that she's here. I don't want to get your head up too big, Marie. I mean, you can always improve on things too. We can all improve, so it's not a slam dunk every year. Just want to let you know that, because our citizens expect so much.
Let me burst the bubble just a little bit and say this is not just about Marie Garrett. This is about delivering the best value for the taxpayer's dollar, and that's exactly what this decision does. So,
yeah, it does, and we could go on and on about the great things she's done, about whether hiring Chief Yandura in our police department or the real estate maneuvers she's made for us, especially with this city hall, and just many things that you'll never know about, because there's so much that goes on in the startup of a city. And city managers with startup experience are very rare, and there's a very small group of them, and available ones is even a smaller group. And we're a Class A city. We're the largest city in DeKalb County, and our citizens do expect a lot. We hear from a lot of citizens about things they want done. We have a lot of high expectations, and we couldn't do it with inferior talent or subpar talent or just average talent. And so that's why we're here, and we're proud to have Marie Garrett as our city manager, and we're proud to keep her, and proud to keep her for years to come, hopefully. And we appreciate your support, the citizen support for our city and our city manager. So with that, is there any more discussion? All right.
Motion's on the
Yes,
table.
motion on the table. All in favor of adopting the motion as stated by Councilman Madison, signify so by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right. Thank you, Marie. All right. Public hearing.